Algebra Half, lesson 21 is called Average. It's a pretty short lesson on pages 74 and 75. And review, I think, up until the very last example. So quickly, average is this idea that we take, well, in a lot of areas of life, it's taking past experience and projecting a prediction. It's taking how many free throws do they normally make in the sample. You know, that could have been hundreds or thousands of free throws. What's the percentage that they average? And then therefore we can extrapolate that onto the next 10. You know, if he shoots 10 free throws, on average he's made 90% in his life. So we can expect how many? 9 made free throws based on how many they've missed and how many that they've maybe made. Another way to think of finding an average is, let's say you give me 30 pancakes. The average is how many pancakes is in each stack if I stack them evenly. So it would, be stacked in 6 columns of 5 or 5 columns of 6 or whatever. We're finding an average, which is the average times the item occurs divided by the number of numbers. So, or the number of times. So we've got a great definition here. Average is the sum of numbers. This is how we find it. And then we divide that by how many groups, the number of numbers, so to speak. Another way to think of it, sum of numbers, and we can actually show it over a fraction bar, right? Over, and this would be good for your notes. Maybe you make a note, page 74. It's all about averages. Sum of numbers over the number of numbers. You count how many numbers. This will make more sense again if we review in a second. First one is review. Find the average of a set of numbers. How many numbers? That's key to finding. That's the number of numbers, and what's that going to be on the bottom? Be careful, this is all one number. So there's 4 numbers, which means our bottom number is 4. What's our top number? The sum of all these numbers added up. You can use your calculator. Book tells me it's 23,000. 650, which isn't very far off from that big number, which pulls it all up. If it wasn't for that number, it would all be a lot closer together. 2 numbers being close, this one being pretty low, this one being way high. We call that an outlier when analyzing data. That's going to pull the whole average up. But it's not going to be that high, is it? It's going to be a number somewhere between the highest and the lowest number. And if we divide this properly, we get 5,912, and it's not an even number. So make sure you put any decimals, in this case 5/10. Okay? They do another one with more numbers that are closer together, 8 total numbers. They divide 98 by 8 in example 21.1. But read to yourself this problem. It's example 21.3. And it's kind of a new concept for you. Go back to your definition of an average to solve. Number of numbers is known. What is it? 4 total numbers. And we know what? We know 2, 14, and 7. 2, 14, 7. What could I write for the 4th number that we don't know? How about a variable? And we know that this equals, do we know what that equals? We know that the average is 10. So all we got left is a missing number problem that's a little more complicated than the ones we're used to. The sum of the numbers has to equal whatever would be divided by 4 to be 10. What number, when all put together, will be 10 after being divided by 4? That's just some simple logic. I know that this number is going to need to add up to 40. Easy math, because 40 divided by 4 is 10. Therefore, now it's just a missing number addition problem. And that's how they solve in the book. 14 plus 7 is 21, plus 2 is 23. How much more until I get to 40? 17. So the missing number is 17. You can go back and check. Add 17 up with the other 3, divide by 4, and you should get 10. All right? You're going to get another one of those. Practice B. The average of 4 numbers is 101/10. 3 of the numbers are as shown. What's the 4th number? Solve it just like we did. The key part being this needed to equal 40. Finding this number was very important. Go back, watch this part again when I talked about that, or read it again at the bottom of page 74. Do practice B and C. They're a challenge, but I know you can do it.